Vowing that the sound of this bell pervades the universal Dharma realm, bringing luminous white light to the black iron perimeter of hell, removing in an instant the suffering caused by the three evil ways. A mountain of swords is destroyed, and all sentient beings enter enlightenment together. Homage to the Master Teacher, Vairocana Buddha, compassionate Lord of the lotus-born universe, expounding the treasured verses of the sacred golden texts contained within precious cases written on jade scrolls. Each dust mote interpenetrates, and the universe becomes one. Every realm is united with all other worlds. The truth is contained in the 1,095,048 words of the utmost vehicle's consummate teaching. Homage to the Avatamsaka Sutra expounded by the Buddha. To understand the Buddhas of endless time, just penetrate this phrase. Everything is created by mind alone. The mantra of shattering hell. Namo Atashi Jinam Samyak Samota Jichinam Om Ababa Jiri Jiri Hum. Namo Atashi Jinam Samyak Samota Jichinam Om Jababa Jiri Jiri Hum. Namo Atashi Jinam Samyak Samota Jichinam Om Ababa Jiri Jiri Hum. Vowing now for the rest of my life not to give rise to extraneous thoughts, following only Amitabha Buddha. Thought after thought will constantly merge with the rays of his jade-like brilliance, each instant never leaving the qualities of his golden form. Holding a mala and bearing witness to the universal Dharma realm, empty space is but a thread leaving nothing unconnected. There is nowhere that Vairocana Buddha is not present equally. Through contemplation seek Amitabha of the Western Shore. Homage to the great teaching master, Lord of the Western Shore, the Buddha, the Tathagata of infinite light. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. The land of ultimate bliss has 10 kinds of adornment. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. It is adorned with Dharmakara's vow, his cultivation cause. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the power of Amitabha's 48 vows. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with Amitabha's name and the brilliance of his life force. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the bejeweled images observed by the 3 Mahasattvas. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Adorned with the peaceful bliss of Amitabha's Western world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. adorned with bejeweled rivers running with pure and meritorious waters. Homage to Amitabha Buddha, adorned with bejeweled basilicas with halls of wish-fulfilling jewels. Homage to Amitabha Buddha, adorned with lengthy days and nights. Homage to Amitabha Buddha, adorned with the Pure Land's 24 kinds of pleasures. Homage to Amitabha Buddha, adorned with the 30 kinds of beneficial merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha, who is unparalleled in heaven or on earth. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He is also unmatched through the worlds of the 10 directions. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He has seen the annihilation of self and everything in the world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. There is no one who is like Amitabha Buddha. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can keep track of thoughts as numerous as all the dust motes in the universe. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can quaff the western world, the waters in the world. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. He can control the wind that fills space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. No one can completely describe that Buddha's merits. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha Buddha is omnipresent. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Keep your thoughts on him and never forget. As thoughts probe that place of no thought, the 6 sense gates will constantly emanate light of purple and gold. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha's face, like the full moon, is at the front of the hall of ultimate bliss. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. His jade excrescence and his gold form radiate through space. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. If a person call his name for only a moment, they will instantly consummate immeasurable merit. Homage to Amitabha Buddha. Along with all sentient beings, I vow to enter the sea of Amitabha's great vows and to ferry across sentient beings so that I and others may simultaneously complete the path to Buddhahood. The sublime mantra of the original mind of Amitabha Buddha. Tanyata Om Aritara Savaha. Tanyata Om Aritara Savaha. Tanyata Om Aritara Savaha 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 Tanyata Aritara Savaha.
At this time, I'd like to invite our incense lighters forward. And as they're preparing to light incense, I hope that you all join me in reciting our incense offering this morning. You'll find it inside your chant book as a loose leaf page. Together we say, in gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding, slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see such a full room. Well, that was quite a racket. I hope we're all awake now. It's much louder up here. My name is Nasan Skara. I'm a teacher intern here at the temple. This morning I'll be facilitating the service for the first time, so I haven't had that bell ring in my ear before. I'm comforted by knowing that if it all goes sideways, we're all going to go sideways together. At this time, I think we should all stand and greet each other with silent bows. Okay, use my cheat sheet here. We're going to turn to page 7 of our chant book and begin with the 3 refuges. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. If we just flip over to page 8, we'll chant the Heart Sutra. Dharma, Prajna, Paramita, Hridaya, Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of Prajna, Paramita, perceived the emptiness of all 5 skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra,
Form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance. Nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death. Nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but the prajna, paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, aragate, arasangate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, aragate, arasangate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, aragate, arasangate, bodhisattva. Prajna, paramita, hridaya, sutra.
Thank you. Please be seated. We're lucky enough this morning to have the Dharma talk presented by our Sangha member, Difang Su, David Reese.
My Dharma name, Difang Su, I was told when it was given me, means uncluttered place. And as I've said to you before, I like to translate that as uncluttered life, which is a work in progress still. Last Sunday, Kunga commented on how the weekend before he'd been involved in a couple of retreats and how much he missed the ritual and the chants that are such an ordinary part of our life here. And I heard him suggest that what we do here is part of our practice. Those chants, those bells, that ritual. It becomes familiar and reassuring when we've done it enough. And for Kunga, at least, it was good to be back in our company here in this Sangha. Think back to what it was like when you first walked into this temple, what you were feeling, what you were thinking. Was it uncertainty, maybe? Or just feeling uncomfortable because this was all brand new? Or maybe even intimidating because you didn't know exactly what was going to happen. My first time was back in 2012. It was Easter Sunday of that year, and I had decided after 38 years as a minister, I knew that story frontwards and backwards. And it was time for something different. All I knew about the Grand Rapids Temple was what I'd read on their website. So I showed up at the temple. The location was downtown on Fulton Street in a small space, and I wasn't sure what to expect. The old location was about half the size of this space, if you can believe that. There was no downstairs area. Tea after the service was served off to the side of the room. And when I walked in that Sunday morning, not knowing what to expect, I was greeted by no one. So I found an empty chair, bumbled my way through the printed service information and the chants. But one thing is forever etched in my mind. The founding monk, Dakwan Sunam, in his teaching that morning spoke to me very eloquently of our Buddha nature, how it's not out there somewhere that we're searching for. Our Buddha nature is within us. And through our practice, peeling away our attachments, we discover our Buddha nature. And I thought that morning, this is exactly what I've been waiting to hear for years. But it wasn't until the temple relocated to this spot on South Division that I really began to discover the treasure of Buddhist wisdom and first experienced this temple, this place right here, as sacred space on South Division. Now, what do I mean by sacred space? Joseph Campbell, who's a writer famous for exploring and comparing mythology and religion, wrote these lines. Your sacred space is where you find yourself again and again. Your sacred space is where you find yourself again and again. A space becomes sacred for us when it draws out certain emotions or certain thoughts or certain feelings from within us. A space becomes sacred when it offers a place of connection for us, connection with something that is beyond ourselves, and it gets us grounded. I think of the Buddha putting his hand down on the earth and saying, I belong here. That makes it a sacred space. A space becomes sacred when we can say, even for just a few moments, I do belong here. Now, I personally believe a sacred space can be almost anything, and it always has a personal dimension to it. It may have a community dimension too, a Sangha dimension, if you will. Let me give you just a couple of examples, one which is very personal for me. For some people, this place that I'm thinking of is not a sacred space at all, but for others, it really is. When I was growing up in Central California back in the 40s, yes, I'm that old, the little town we lived in had about 12,000 people. And I don't know if it was in the air or the water or what, but it became clear to me that part of my destiny in Lodi, California, was to play football for the Lodi Flames. And I grew up with, I don't even know how to describe it. Football was just such a part of me that it was inescapable. My football career is something else. I think sometime maybe on my headstone it should say, he wasn't as good as he wanted to be, but he was better than he thought. Now, that football thing translates to the Midwest then from the, excuse me, the Central Valley of California to South Bend, Indiana, and the Notre Dame football stadium. Growing up as I did with all of this football lore around me, but not growing up as Catholic, not being Irish, there was still something about Notre Dame when I heard that name, and the Four Horsemen, and Touchdown Jesus on the side of the library that you can see from the stadium, and all those Heisman trophies that Notre Dame football players have won. And my first time in the stadium, I was in South Bend for a retreat and was walking around campus. And in those days, the stadium was still open, so you could walk in. And I walked in and I saw the plaque up on the wall that all the players touched on their way out to the field. Champions play here. And I walked out on the grass and thought about all of the famous football players that had run on that same grass. Then a few years later, I got to go to my first game there. And I tell you, listening to the Notre Dame band and the Irish fight song and seeing the players run out of that tunnel and the crowd go crazy, I was in that moment in a very sacred place for me. Personal dimension, not everybody appreciates it. They might understand it. But another is, again, personal, but more people can understand it, I think. My father was in the Second World War, and he never talked very much about it. He was in Europe. I heard from my mother, finally, after my father had died, that he was part of a group, a company or whatever, that was in the second wave of going into one of the concentration camps in Germany. And he never talked about that, I think because it was such a horrible experience for him. The only way I can visualize that, for those you may have seen it, the TV series, The Band of Brothers, and the one episode where the soldiers stumble upon this concentration camp and they find all of these residents of the camp emaciated, wearing striped suits, looking about as frail as you can. And what a shock that must have been for somebody like my father to run across that, this young boy from West Texas. Well, I had an opportunity a few years ago, visiting some friends in Germany, to visit the Bergen-Belsen concentration camp. It's in northwestern Germany. And there are a lot of photographs there. The camp was liberated by the British Army, not by the American, by the British Army, but the feeling was still there. And we read stories of different prisoners there that were put up on the wall and then walked around outside on the grounds. And there was these really beautiful grassy mounds. And you knew underneath those beautiful mounds were hundreds, if not thousands, of people who had been killed in the concentration camp because of who they were or what they believed or how they lived. And that made that, for me, a sacred place. Thinking about my father and then being there myself and thinking about the horrors of the war and the concentration camps. And for as long as I'll ever be able to remember, Bergen-Belsen will be a sacred place for me. One other one, some of you may have visited, the Vietnam Wall in Washington, D.C. It's a wall that, I don't know how to describe it. It's plain and it's magnificent all at the same time. It has the names of over 58,000 American military people who died in Vietnam. 5 of them were classmates of mine. And it was really something to go up to the wall and touch the name of one of them and think about how that must have been. And I knew, again, I was in a very sacred place. And so did everybody else who was there, because the silence along that wall was unbelievable. People were as quiet as they could be, not wanting to disturb the silence, the sacredness of that place, and remembering all of those folk who had died in the service of their country. Now, an essential part of Buddhism is something we say many times as part of our practice. Everything is created by mind alone. Everything we experience, everything we perceive, everything we think we know is a creation of our minds. We create our own reality. It's not the physical world or the material world where we're creating something. It's the world within us. Our individual experiences and perceptions shape how we interpret that physical and material world, how we interpret what happens to us, and creating within our minds is the way then that we respond to what happens. My wife and I were having a conversation about this just the other day. A friend who is very close to death now. And I said something about everything is created by mind alone. And Chris had a hard time getting her mind around that. And I didn't think at the moment of what I should have said, and just kept trying to explain intellectually what it means. Everything is created by mind alone. But to say that in the physical material world in which we live, this friend of ours, Pam, was just slowly wasting away. And it wasn't that she chose, it wasn't that she created that disease in her mind. It's just part of how we live in this world. But she has chosen, she has created in her mind how she responds to this disease that she has, this illness. And she's a wonder to see how she lives even now this close to dying. So this place on South Division is a sacred place for me as well. And I hope for many of you. You may never have thought of it that way. When you walk down South Division and get an eyeful of everything that's here, street people, folk who are experiencing home insecurity or food insecurity, folk who are experiencing what it means to be neglected by good mental health care, folk who seem to be sort of lost sometimes. And you get a little bit further down the street and gentrification is taking place. And then there are all these shops appealing to the younger generation. And then you get down further and there's the police station and a whole lot more of downtown as you move toward the river. Sacred space on South Division. That's what we are here. That's what I am here. And I hope for you too. Because when I take my place here on Sunday morning and smell the incense, when I resonate with the bell or the gong, when I join my experience with yours as we say chants together and bow to each other in greeting, and when we meditate together, then I really am in a sacred space, as are you. And I hope you get a chance to experience that. Thank you. Prepare yourselves now for meditation.
Thank you. I'll just say a couple of words about meditation. Please just, if you need to move about to seat yourself comfortably, whether you're in a chair or on a mat, just be comfortable. Be mindful of your posture. If you can be in an upright, comfortable position with your back straight, your hands in your lap. You could have your eyes open or closed, however it suits you. There's not really a wrong way or a right way to meditate, but I'm told that your posture is something to be mindful of, and you can pay attention to your breath as it comes in and out through your nose, and as you have thoughts that come through your mind, just observe them and let them go. All right, so. Thank you all for meditating with me. I wanted to say maybe just a couple of words on meditation because yesterday we, as part of our quarterly retreat schedule at the temple, once a quarter have a Saturday retreat where we sit in here and do meditation practice, sitting meditation, walking meditation. We have lunch. We have some service. It's really a great way to spend your Saturday, to deepen your practice. Thich Nhat Hanh says that we use meditation to slow our minds and slow our bodies, to bring them into sync as one, and through that have healing. And that's what meditation does for me. If you all would like to deepen your own meditation practice, we do have those quarterly retreats. We also offer introduction to meditation classes at the temple. I know that there is an introduction to meditation from a Tibetan perspective class that's upcoming that I think I would like to attend because that's very interesting. So all of those resources are available online. Time for joys and concerns. This is a time when we would like to, or we're able to share our joys and concerns. And I would say sharing the four immeasurables with each other: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. So if anybody has any joys and concerns to share.
I have a concern for our Sangha member, Ben, who's not here today because he's undergoing his third and I hope last session of chemotherapy. And if that goes well, onward to a stem cell transplant next month. So please hold space for him.
Hey everyone, my name's Max. I have two things. I have a joy and a concern. I'll start with the concern first. My dear friend Blue, his grandpa recently passed away just a few days ago. I bring it up not to make this a dour moment or anything like that, but because they were really loved. Their grandpa was really loved. Blue helped take care of them for many years. So I got to spend a lot of time with Blue yesterday, and it was a very nice, touching time with some friends. So that was very nice. So if you have some space for them in your heart, that'd be great. Secondly, a joy is that in 5 days, I actually get to go to Plum Village Monastery in New York called Blue Cliff Monastery. So very excited for that. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks right now. I have 2 weeks reserved. So very excited for that. It's a really big step, but I wanted to say I'm very grateful for this place. When I found this temple just so close to me, it's like 8-minute drive. That was incredible. And it led me down a great path that I'm happy to take another step towards. So thank you everybody for allowing me to come here all this time. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nikki. I have a joy and a concern as well. So I'll start with the concern. My former mother-in-law and neighbor texted me yesterday morning to inform me that her mother had died yesterday morning. So if you could just hold her in your thoughts and wish them peace during this time. And then the joy, the intern where I work, she is graduating from vet tech school this week. And I was in her place a couple of years ago and just remember how exciting this is. It's a lot of work and a very tough degree to get through. So I'm just very happy for her and hoping that, she finds her place moving forward.
My name is Craig. My name is Craig. I'm really grateful to be here. I have two joys. One that I experience some on occasion when we're doing the Heart Sutra, like when I step back and realize we're all doing this and we're all doing it together as a chance, kind of like what you said. It's really hard for me to contain my joy. Like I just want to start laughing. Like this is so fun, but like I'm trying to stay with everyone. So there's certainly a joy. And then another one, I was able to be a part of yesterday's meditation. I'm at Guiding Light, and so there is a great deal of joy behind my vulnerability, like being early in recovery, getting to come like for part of the meditation, not knowing really what's going on. I joined for the lunch and then a few hours, and it was really fun to just like, this is it. Follow along. Kind of, I have no idea what's going on. And so like there was a lot of joy in that vulnerability and just being like, this is the Sangha. Like, just take me as I am. It was really, there was a lot of growth, and that's where the joy came from in that experience. I'm really thankful.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Junsu, or you can call me Shane. I have a joy and a concern. I'll start with my joy. I was just recently diagnosed with sleep apnea, and I have a CPAP, which is kind of interesting, but I've been feeling a lot more rested lately. So 5 days in. And for the concern, I just was informed yesterday that my Uncle Clifford was hit by a car. Late at night, he's been going through a lot. He's become homeless and he's struggling with recovery. And so he just had surgery on both his legs that are broken. And I'm hoping to see him today. But if you could just keep him in your thoughts and your prayers and your meditations, that'd be most appreciated. Thank you.
More than one thing to say this morning. 22 years and 11 months ago, our grandson Justin was born. Arrived 12 or 13 weeks early, weighed 1.5 pounds, which I've seen potatoes bigger than that. Immediately went into incubator, had goggles over his eyes to protect them from the light, and a cannula for breathing and a tube for nutrition. And at the beginning, weren't sure if Justin would survive. Well, he did. But we discovered then that he had cerebral palsy and weren't sure if Justin would ever walk. Well, he has, with the help of a walker. And yesterday afternoon, he walked down the center aisle of the stage at Miller Auditorium, Western Michigan University, to receive his bachelor's degree. And I've encouraged him as best I can and believe that Justin really has created a way of his own through life to this point, and he'll continue to do that down the road. So I'm really joyful this morning for my grandson and his success.
If I might, I'd like to thank this fine gentleman over here, Irvin. Irvin came last week for the last 10 minutes, and I asked if somebody would like to join us to help clean around our Sangha. It's, as you mentioned, it's a sacred place, but it's also a very challenging place to take care of and maintain. And you and your partner, Casey, we filled, would you say, the entire dumpster back there with trash and weeds. And so take a look. There's a little garden out there, and just take a look around. I really want to express my gratitude. Thank you.
So we got one from online. Ashton says, our Sangha family member Wojtek is dealing with mental health issues with support from his partner Amber. Please hold them in your hearts. Thank you.
All right. Let's take a moment to hold those joys and concerns in our heart. Some temple-related announcements. Next Sunday, May 5th, we have a potluck. It's potluck for Buddha's birthday. Downstairs in the community room, please bring a dish to share. If you're able to, please make an ingredient list for your dish for folks with allergies or sensitivities. Our online meditation group meets Wednesdays from 7 to 7:45. You can join via Zoom and contact Reverend Kunga for more information. The Thursday Dharma discussion group meets from 9:30 to 11 a.m. every Thursday. One of my personal favorites. If you are able to join, we're reading The Art of Living by Thich Nhat Hanh. We're not reading it ahead. You don't have to read ahead. You don't have to even have the book. You can come and be a part of the discussion, and there's lots to be had from it. For more information, you can email Reverend Jingsu Ryan Duffield. We have the Avantamsaka Sutra Study Group, Thursdays, May 2nd, 16th, and 30th from 7 to 9. It's going to meet here in person at the temple. Email Will Allington or Reverend Josh and Sue for more information. Saturday, May 11th, we have our introduction to meditation from a Tibetan perspective. It's from 9 a.m. to noon here at the temple. You can see the newsletter or contact Reverend Ige Su. Our Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple Board meeting is Sunday, May 19th from 11:30 to 2 p.m. here at the temple in the community room. All are welcome, or you can join also via Google Meet. And our Buddhist-based recovery meetings, Mondays at 6:30, meeting here at the temple. Wednesdays, 6:30 at the Alano Club on College Ave. Or Fridays at 10 a.m., also here in the temple. Or you can join via Zoom. For all the event details, you can visit the website at zengr.org or sign up, see the weekly newsletter. And if you haven't signed up for the weekly newsletter, I would encourage it, because it's a wonderful bit of information and just a place where, another place, where joys are shared for the Sangha. So bring us together in that way. Please rise and join me with our, thank you very much. Are there any other announcements? Not today. Thank you. Rise and join me for our closing gathas. Together we say, for all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain.
And if we could split in the center and have this side of the room face this side of the room, and we'll give a final bow to one another. Thank you. If you all would like to join us for tea downstairs, we'll be having some tea. If you can straighten your cushions back to where you found them, put the loose leaf inserts back into your chant books, and someone will come around and collect them. Thank you all very much.